Jen from Stillwater back again. So today I thought I would show you my garden in July. So today's July 26, 2022, and we are in Placerville, California, zone 9, and it is the middle of the fire season and it's pretty quiet so far. And I'm kind of feeling like we're all waiting for the other shoe to fall, if that even makes any sense. But we've been so used to things burning up here every single July that we're all kind of like, wait, no fire? What's going on? But also very, very grateful. So I thought, since it's such a nice day today, I'd bring you out and show you our garden. So welcome to the July garden tour. We are in the far corner of the garden and things are going crazy over here. So right now we've got so many cucumbers that I can't even eat them all. And then intermixed with that, you see some Cosmo, some zinnia, some marigold. And it's weird, every single year my basil goes nuts, but for some reason this year it's just not. It's like totally stunted, not doing well at all. If everything else was stunted, I'd worry about herbicide damage, but everything else is doing well. We are using a bunch of composted horse manure from people we know from our own horses, and we are aware of where the feed comes from, so I'm not as concerned about the straw because I know what we feed our horses. So this is all composted horse manure and compost itself that we're planting into, and so far so good this year, except for my basil. Very strange. Never had a basil issue before, but I guess there's something every year. Our cucumbers are just going absolutely nuts right now. They're all sprinkled in here. Just tons and tons and tons of them. I can't even keep up. All the way down the row. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea to plant a row and a half of cucumbers. I always forget how prolific they are. So I have 18 50-foot beds, and they are not on contour. They are going downhill. That's a mistake that I really feel like I shouldn't have made, but of course I did make it. If I had a do-over, I would be placing them on contour because I lose a lot of water runoff. That's why I like to do drip, and that way it helps with the water retention, and then I mulch a ton as well. But if I had a do-over, I would put them the long ways on contour, maybe not have as many beds, but have them on contour so I wouldn't lose them to water runoff. The other thing I noticed is my well, in the summer especially, it loses water pressure, so it doesn't have the ability to maintain as much water at the top. So if you notice, my top is a little more sparse than my bottom, and I'm remedying that with putting in a sprinkler system, the wobbler system, and that's helping me better water the top. But for a while I just didn't realize it was happening with my drip, and so it didn't get as watered at the top, and that's why you see it a little bit more blank. I've since reseeded and planting it and watering it more, and so I'm going to have another crop here pretty quick. I don't know if you can see this, but there's my next crop. It's just starting to come up. I planted some lettuces, and they'll be fall lettuces. Again, here's my lettuces that are bolting right now. So they're very tall, and that's what they look like when they're starting to set seed pods. And lettuce seed is very, very small. So pretty soon I'll have a nice set of seed, and then I'll dry it out and collect that seed. I like to interplant marigold around my bushes because they tend to be pest repellents, and I really have found a lot of success with them. Besides being beautiful cut flowers, my larger ones, these small ones aren't great cut flowers, but they're beautiful to look at. And then I just planted corn a few weeks ago, and it's starting to come up in between my dinky basil that I'm still kind of confused about, but maybe I'll do better next year. Try a different cultivar maybe. Again, corn coming through up here at the top. So in a couple weeks, this will be nice and bushy and filled out. So that you're gonna find really filled out patches in the garden, and then really sparse patches, and that just means that it's a cycle of seeding, planting, harvesting, pulling out, and then seeding again. So we've got some bell pepper here, and I've got some lots and lots of baby bell peppers growing. They're looking good. And then I've got a ton of green beans. Now these green beans are older, so they're on their way out. And then intermixed are the newer green beans that I planted more recently. So I like to succession plant so that not everything's ready at the same time. And so I'll plant like a little bit of beans every week in order for them to all be ripe at different times instead of inundating me with a bunch of beans. My absolute favorite flower, these are zinnias, and they're just starting to blossom. They're a little late this year. Everything's a little late this year because of, we had like a really late April freeze and it messed everything up. I had to replant a bunch of stuff, and so everything's a little late this year. I do plant these daikon radishes. The reason why is I have heavy clay soil, and I'm trying to break the compaction up a lot. So every time I do a bed flip, I broad fork, and then I rake it, and then I plant it. But then I'm also doing some experimenting with these daikon radishes. So I'm letting them go. They're turning in these massive beasts, but I want them to reach deep into the roots and break up that compaction. I also want them to go to seed because I see a ton of butterflies, a ton of bees coming to them. And then also I want to save the seeds, so I'm letting them go. I eat the ones that my family wants, and then the rest I let go. Again, huge zinnia plant. This one's a white. This one's past its prime. Lots and lots of buds on that. Cosmos, again, lots of buds. I need to get out here and deadhead. It's just been 100-degree weather and so very hot. But today is beautiful, 77 degrees right now. We have a little bit of a rainstorm coming through. We got a sprinkle, which is pretty unheard of in July, so we'll take that and be happy with it. Again, more daikon radish there, and then little jalapenos. So peppers sprinkled into this bed, along with lots of green beans. This bed is full of carrots. My germination didn't go very well because of that same issue with the drip. So it is what it is, and then I will fix it, and next bed flip I'll make sure that it germinates better. My sunflowers, these are my pride and joy. Absolutely love them. It's done well for me as a cut flower. A lot of people picking. And I have these cute, adorable little teddy bear flowers. Teddy bear sunflowers that are actually adorable and doing really well for me as well. So these have been a great crop for us. And it also draws in a lot of the bees and the butterflies. So it's kind of fun to see everybody coming in for those sunflowers. Okay, the next several rows are actually all planted out in flowers. This is my cut flower business. I sell a lot of these flowers to local businesses and then do a U-pick every so often. So look out for that if you're in the Placerville area. It's really fun to come and pick your own bouquet of flowers. Lots of variety here. Got some mums, some bachelor buttons, some yarrow. And then down through here we've got feverfew. I need to deadhead a lot of this so they'll come back again stronger. But we've got feverfew. And then my own personal favorite is the straw flower. Absolutely love the beauty of this. And they feel papery thin. They're already dried, so they're great in dried flowers. Here's some more. They come in all kinds of different colors and shapes. Lots of different beautiful colors for the straw flower. I absolutely love it. Another one of my favorites is the feverfew. It almost looks like baby's breath, but a little bit bigger, and it's a really nice compliment when you're making a bouquet. I also have, there's these nigella pods. Once this flower goes through its cycle, first of all, it turns into this gorgeous, beautiful, like little pincushion flower. And then when all the petals fall off, I have these pods that are of artistic interest as well. I like to put them in. They're like little spikes, kind of offsets the flowers. Then of course we have our statice, lots and lots of statice. Another papery dried flower that goes well with your feature flowers. And zinnias, more zinnias. Here's again more nigella. We're kind of, like I said, in July, so a lot of these are becoming pods now. That's exactly what we want. We have two different uses. We have the flower, and then we have the pod. You can tell which way the sun is shining right now because all the sunflowers are facing away. These are the Senorita zinnias that a friend of mine gave me. They're a little more fluffy. I really like them a lot. And then these are these double click cosmos. These didn't get very big this year, but we had that freeze and then immediate heat after that. So I'm thinking that's the culprit. I'm gonna try again next year because I really love these double clicks. They just didn't get that big for me and there wasn't enough to use in my cuttings. More feverfew, my absolute favorite. This one's going bonkers. Zinnia, my favorite cut flower of all, alongside sunflower. There's a zinnia. She's in the pathway where she's not supposed to be, but I just couldn't bring myself to cut her down just because she wasn't where she was supposed to be. So she stays. Got some mum and then some more straw flower. And then we've got a bed of echinacea that's just getting going here. So again, succession planting, pulling things out, replanting. So some areas of the garden are going to be bare just because we're in the middle of a replant. Pretty little poppy there. She's a volunteer. Poppy is California's official flower. I'll let her stay. There's a bunch of echinacea that's just getting started here. It'll be a great fall crop. I've had really good luck making this into a perennial, so it comes back year after year as long as I cut it back. Okay, I've got some broccolis kind of sprinkled in between because they're going to be my fall crops once I crop out the tomatoes. And then here's a few cabbages. These are actually left over from the spring and I left them, and the reason I did is because this time of year I usually am full of aphids. For some reason this year I'm doing fine. I suspect that April freeze had something to do with it, but I like to have a sacrificial plant. So this is my aphid catcher, and hopefully it will grab all those aphids and leave my kale alone because my kale is just coming in. I've already had several successions of this. And then of course I stick zinnias everywhere that they will possibly get a little bit of extra prettiness in the garden. All right, I've got tomato all the way down, some more calendula, some zinnias sprinkled here, another rosemary, and then lots more tomatoes. Oh, here's a straw flower that volunteered itself over here. She's kind of out of place, but I'll let her stay. Lots more tomatoes. These are large red cherry tomatoes, mostly. Arkansas Traveler, which is a type of slicer. Some Romas. You can see our hummingbirds really, really love the snapdragons. Here's some onion. These are just spring onions, so I can cut them and they come again. They're little, they don't bulb up, and so we use them in our salads. We just cut, cut, cut. beets as well, sprinkled throughout. And then I've got more kale. This is the dinosaur kale, not the curly leaf kale. And in there we've actually got some onions that are bulbing up fantastically. Here's my other favorite. I absolutely love this giant marigold. I got the seed from Johnny's and it's huge. I actually grew a whole flat of these, but I put them out the week before the freeze. And so most of them froze. This one actually survived, and it is just absolutely prolific. I get lots of cut marigolds from them, and they're just gorgeous in bouquets. A couple squash plants, zucchini. This squash is, I believe, spaghetti squash. Planted it a few weeks ago, and it is going to town. I'm going to trellis it if I can. It's the heat of the day right now, so these zucchini aren't dying. They're actually putting down their tents right now because they actually don't want sun scald. So right now they're looking like they're sad, but really at the end of the day when the sun goes down and we water, everything kind of pops back up. That's it for the July garden tour. If you like this video, click like and subscribe so that we can continue to offer you more videos like this. All right, friends, we'll see you in the next one.